Hello and welcome back to the Yarn Hoarder's Crafting Podcast. My name is Sasha and this is my little alcove of the internet where I like to talk all things crafting. And this is episode 55. And you're seeing this the day before Wonderwool, so please be prepared to listen to me waffle about Wonderwool at the end of this video. I am very caffeinated, very cheerful, very chirpy. I don't know why, because somebody's in the other room dying of the flu. So I have one finished object, 4 whips, 3 of them are new cast-ons, and I don't think that's going to be the end of my cast-ons because I have the urge to cast on all of the things when I have absolutely zero right to be casting on all of the things because I have plenty of whips that I should be working on, some of which are over 2 years old. So I shall jump in with my first finished object, which are my April socks. So here they are. I have two finished socks. So the black is using just a free mini I got from Mothy and the Squid. And then the main colour, this gorgeous purpley black and blue and pink tonal microstripe colourway, is from The Lonely Knitter, and it is the Trying Not to Fail colourway from her All of Time and Space collection, which I'm pretty sure was Doctor Who themed. Kind of makes sense if it is. So I had this sock finished last week and I was on this sock. And I know I was on this sock because I have marked 2 points on this sock. I'll go over the details of the sock first. So these were knit on a 2.5mm 9-inch circular with 20 rounds of 2x2 rib for the cuff, 45 rounds for the leg, heel flap and gussets, and then I do I think it's a wedged toe. It might be a rounded toe. I do a couple of rounds of decreases on every row rather than every other row all the way down, but whatever it is, it's a toe that goes down to 12 stitches on each needle and then I graft it together. So I finished these on Monday. At the time of recording it's Thursday, the 23rd, and these 2 points are marked because, as some of you may know, I had a hospital appointment on Monday and I was curious how much I was going to get done during that appointment. It was my pre-op appointment. I have endometriosis. I'm supposed to be having an operation to remove a bunch of scar tissue, among other things. But I had this pre-op appointment, and bearing in mind my appointment was just after 8 o'clock in the morning and they only opened at 8 o'clock, I was in there for 2.5 hours. About 30 minutes of that was actual part of the appointment, but that's how much I got done. So when I want to get knitting done, I can, or when I have nothing else to do, I can get a lot of knitting done. So there's no excuse for me not to finish a pair of socks each month, given I now know that is 2.5 hours of work, or 2 hours. But finished object, only finished object for this week, and realistically my last finished object for April, which my stats aren't looking good. I'm currently negative for the month of April, but Wonderwool. So I really should get on and finish things so I can take yarn out of stash, but we're now going to talk about my whips, 3 of which are new. But we'll start with the one I've been working on for weeks now, and I'd hoped to get the lace finished so that I could work on it just back and forth in the car. It is Thursday. I realistically need to get this finished, the lace part of this finished. However, I have 8 rows left to do. 8 rows. So this is my In Between Dreams cardigan by my units. And I have this much. As I said, I'm still working on the yoke of this cardigan, and I'm not going to be working on this in the car. Like, there's no chance. I'm not going to get the lace finished. I'm not going to manage the 8 rows to finish this between now and tomorrow night, realistically. If I only had 4 rows left, I could, but I don't think I'm going to manage 8. It requires a lot of concentration for the lace part. So, nice idea to have this done so that I can work on it in the car. Realistically, I'll just take a sock project with me, kind of hinting what a couple of those are. But the yarn for this is Rowan Valley Tweed in the colourway Janet's Foss. This is my second cake, so I did have to join in the next cake in order to finish this yoke, but I got the majority of it out of one skein, 150 gram skein, so it's doing well. I think once this is back and forth knitting, it shouldn't take that long. Shouldn't, but one never knows. Also, this is a lot greener than it's showing up. It's looking very, very blue on camera. It's actually green. So that's the astounding amount of progress I have with that. It might go away for a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. I'd still like to work on it. I'm still enjoying the yarn, enjoying the pattern, all of that. I cast on a item and then I felt like casting on more. Probably didn't help that I ended up winding a whole lot of yarn to get things ready, prepping for different things. I'm going away next week, so I wanted to get a project ready for that. So I had yarn. I'd finished these socks, so I wanted another pair of socks to cast on. So we should go in the order in which I cast these on. So these are my next pair of socks that will probably be finished in May. So these will probably be my May socks. And I'm using for this basically the same combo as this. So this was a free mini from Mothy and the Squid. There is her label. It doesn't have the name of the colourway on the back, it just says free mini skein. Same as the black one, that didn't have a name either, and I've got one more that also doesn't have a name. But this is the colourway, so it's white and black with pink and purple specks. And then for the main skein, I'm using the Lonely Knitter Happy Ever After, also from the All of Time and Space collection. This is what this one looks like. It's trying to fall apart. Very much trying to fall apart. This is very pinky purple with some blue, little specks of blue running through it. I'd say you'd be able to see it better in the cast-on, in the actual sock, but I've only got like 3 rounds of the main colour, maybe 4. Yeah, 4. But I cast this on Tuesday, and I finished the cuff. I joined in the main skein, and yeah, that's all I've got so far. It's basically going to be the exact same recipe as I used for this. So 64 stitch, 2x2 rib for 20 rounds, 45 rounds for the leg, heel flap, gussets, and then I will just work away on this. This is probably the project I'm going to take with me to Dublin. I don't know how much work I will do on it. Usually when I take knitting with me I don't end up doing much, but we shall see. I get to be passenger princess a lot over the next couple of days, so might take this to Wonderwall, might take the other one, we'll see. But with luck these will be my May socks. I highly doubt I shall finish them before that, but even if I somehow finish these in April, that's only 60 grams max that can leave my stash, because 50 grams, 10 grams. I had leftovers from these. I think these socks weighed 53 grams. So realistically, even if I finish them, that's not a lot of grammage out. But at the end of the day, it's not all about grams out. It is a fun hobby. I do enjoy it. It is what I use for stress relief. I knit a lot when I'm in pain, so, you know, at the end of the day, the number is not the main, part, so. And then the next one I cast on is in this basket that I made. And I am using. So this yarn was gifted to me by a friend. It is the Hobby Essentials Aran yarn. This is a 100% acrylic yarn. I'm making a gift with this. I'm making a donation item with this. I personally don't really wear acrylic, and I didn't know what to make with this. In December every year, I give to charity. Normally I give to a food bank. However, I recently discovered, well, when I donated last year, I discovered that this food bank is related to a religious organisation that is not very inclusive. It doesn't help everybody. It tries to push its own religion on people. It won't help people from other ethnic religious groups, and I don't agree with that. So this year I'm donating to a women and girls charity that helps everybody regardless of race, religion, background, anything like that. I'm going to be giving to a women and girls charity. It's mostly a shelter for victims of domestic violence. I'm making a donation for them. There will also be other stuff I'll gift. I put money aside each month for this purpose, to give to the charity. So I'll do things like toiletries. I'll contact the charity and find out what they're short on that day and stuff. They like to have things like clothes as well, and especially in December they want like warm clothes for the cold weather. All this to say, what I've cast on is a scarf. I think this lilac colour would work really well for a child, little boy or a little girl. So I am doing this using making this using Tunisian crochet on a 6mm hook, and I am making just a simple honeycomb stitch scarf. This is it's either 30 or 34 stitches wide, and I'm just doing the honeycomb stitch, and I'm just going to do the honeycomb stitch for the entire length of the scarf. I have 6 50-gram balls of this. They are 91 meters a piece. I don't know if I will need all 6 for one scarf. Given I'm making this for a child, I might end up only using 3 skeins for this one, and then I might make a companion pattern. I might make like a hat and some mitts or something with the other 3 skeins. We'll see how long this is once I get to that point. But yeah, it's just a simple project, and I was in the mood for some Tunisian crochet, but I didn't really have any yarn in stash that wasn't already assigned to another project, and I've been wondering what to make with this yarn. I'd been debating just making some home decor, like some cushion covers, but I think this will go to a better cause. So that's another cast on. And my last cast on is in this adorably cute bag that I got from Stephen and Penelope. Keep on knitting, kitten. And in here I have yarn that I bought from their shop, and it is the dark omen yarn in their merino sock in the colour Scuba Dive and Rejuvenate. So Rejuvenate is the mini, Scuba Dive is the main skein. That is the mini skein, this really beautiful grey and blue and turquoise with specks of purple. And the main skein is, as one can expect from it being called Scuba Dive, aside from falling apart, this amazing collection of blues. I'm sorry about the lighting. The sun is out. I have slatted blinds right next to me. I'm awfully sorry. I'm not going to close the blinds, however, because it's sun and I don't know the next time we're going to see it, because I live in the UK and you have to make the most of the sun when you've got it. But, and if anyone can remember what I said I was making with these when I bought the yarn, these were chosen by my other half to make him a pair of socks. So here they are. I started these yesterday, I think. Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I started these yesterday, and then I happened to get a lot of work done on them. So I'm rather liking these. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this section of micro stripes. But my partner saw that and thought that was an amazing detail, and since these are socks for him, he's the one that's going to wear them. I don't have an issue with it. Well, I don't think I would personally want that. I don't think I would personally want the micro striping if they were for me, but they're for him. I don't have to wear them, so I just have to knit them. So I knit my partner's socks on a 2.75mm needle with 72 stitches. There is 20 rounds of 2x2 rib, and then I will work away on the leg of these, basically until I get tired of it, because he wants me to do 80 rounds for the leg, and then I should do a heel flap and gusset. Then I shall knit ridiculously long foot, and then I get to switch back to the mini for the toe, and then I get to do it all over again. This is the second pair of socks for my partner that I currently have on the needles. The other one is very cabley, and I'm not in the mood for cables at the moment, so stuck in it. I have a couple of other projects I would like to cast on, but realistically I kind of need to finish a couple of my other whips first, so I should probably work on a couple of those and at least try and get some progress on them. So I should probably try and get the lace done on my cardigan so that that becomes just back and forth knitting. I should probably do some work on my colour work. Cowl. I haven't told you what I'm wearing. Well, this is my vest number 2 spring edition, the first one I knit using Juniper Moon Farm Findley Dappled DK. So this is knit completely to pattern, like complete with the ridiculous drop in the armhole. But I knit this a few years ago. It is starting to show its age a little bit. I don't know if it'll come up on screen. It's gone very fuzzy. But I like it. I tend to pair it a lot with this t-shirt because I think the colours work well together. But yeah. Knitting project-wise, that's everything I'm going to talk about. I am now going to talk about some of my plans for Wonderwool, including the stuff that's in this book, which makes a return. If that's not what you're interested in and you don't want to hear about it, that's fine. I'm glad you stuck around this long, and I hope to see you next time. If you are sticking around, I have added 4. So I have 6 patterns in here of yarn I'm looking for, as well as wanting to get some undyed to dye my own for a project. 2 of them I have mentioned before, so I won't go into too much detail, but it is I'm looking for a main colour for a colour work project to go with some mini skeins that I've had for years at this point. I am very, very picky about what I want to go with those, so if I don't find anything, I don't find anything. Like, I am perfectly aware that all the projects in here, I might not find yarn for all of them, and I'm probably not going to find yarn for all of them. I'm probably not going to buy like 6 sweater quantities of yarn in one show. I mean, aside from the fact that my bank account will start crying if I buy 6 sweater quantities in one go, especially as one of them requires buying a main skein and fluff, so it's twice the price. I'm not going to knit that quickly, and I already have plenty of yarn that I probably should be working with. The other project in here is a Semper V-neck by the Knit Pro Girl. I think I know what I want for that, and I think I know the dyer and the colourway, but we shall see. I shall hopefully see them at they will be at Wonderwool, aside from major illness stopping them, so I might end up buying that. The next project I will be shopping for is the yarn to make a wool weft sweater from the designer Sarah Opie. It is probably on screen at this point, or over here, more likely over here. And I'm looking for like a moody green palette for this. Tonals rather than solid, but not speckled. We shall see, because annoyingly, My size requires 440 meters per colour. Realistically, each skein is only 400 to 420, so unless I luck out and find some very lightweight fingering, I might struggle with this. I don't want to have to buy 2 skeins of each colour just for 20 meters, if I can help it. I suppose I could buy a 5th colour for like the cuff, neck and rib, but I quite like the 4 colour look. And although I could size down one and be able to make it with that, that's going to make it a little bit too tight over my chest for the look I'm going for this. So I will be shopping for yarn to make the size 6, which is the 52-inch chest. The next project I will be shopping for is a Maywick by Gudrun Johnston. I already have the main colour for this, which is this green. I have almost 3 skeins of this left over from my Elizabeth I jumper. It is the Virtual Yarns Hebridean 2-ply in the colourway Kaluna. And I'm looking for 3 contrasting colours that go with this green. I have enough of this left for the main colour. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it, but I knew I wanted to use it in something meaningful. I am really, really loving the look of the Maywick. It's a stripy chevron jumper, which is worn with, I think it's supposed to be worn with 0 to 2 inches of negative ease, so it's quite a tight fitting jumper. Due to the way the sizing is on this, I technically have ½ an inch of positive ease. But if I sized down again, that would give me 3.5, I think it is. Maybe 2.5, somewhere between 2.5 and 3.5 inches of negative ease, and that's a little bit too much for me. Especially as it would be very, very tight over my chest and then relatively loose everywhere else, just because of the way my proportions are, because I am not proportional by any stretch of the imagination. Given this is green and I want a decent amount of contrast, I'm going to try and find probably find a white, maybe a light or a bright-ish green that works well with this, and then maybe a grey. I don't want to go with red because the red and green make it look too Christmassy, but we'll see. I am going to have to look for quite a specific wool. This is a 100% Shetland wool, the Virtual Yarns. So I'm probably going to look for something like that. I think, if I remember from when I checked yarnsubs.com correctly, the Jameson and Smith, Jameson of Shetland, one of those came up as a good alternative to this yarn, so I might have a look for that and see if that works. I did deliberately decide to take a sample of the yarn because I wanted to colour match, or I wanted a sample there to hold it against. The next project, which actually might be apparently we only had actually 3, so this yarn it is the Findley Dappled DK, so it's this yarn. I have 2 and a bit skeins of this left, and I decided I wanted to make a tank top with it. However, I don't have quite enough yarn, and I think this is a discontinued yarn. I can't seem to find it anywhere. Like, I can find plenty of Juniper Moon Farm yarns, but I can't seem to find the Findley Dappled DK. I don't know whether it's discontinued. I don't know if it's been reworked and then renamed. I don't know. But it is a 50/50 merino silk. So I kind of want to find a yarn to pair with this, preferably of the same base, 50/50. I know the Woolly Tangle does a 50/50. I'm not sure if they do a DK weight version though. I know they do a fingering version because I have a skein, or I've got half a skein left from my mini mock neck. However, the colours don't work together. That's an orange, copper, yellow, gold colourway. This is very minty greens. In fact, I think this colourway is actually called mint. Yep, mint. So they don't work together. They're definitely a contrast, but I think they clash too much. So I'm going to look for just a single skein to pair with this, just to give me enough yardage to make a long enough tank top. And hey, given it's DK weight, it should work up fairly quick. So those are the main projects I'm shopping for. There will probably be a couple of other skeins that make it into the purchase, a couple of other stuff. I'm sure I will come home with at least one sock set for my partner, maybe even a sweater quantities of yarn for him. So yeah, that's everything for this week. I don't have any acquisition I can show you. I technically have acquisition. However, it's to make my other half something. And because he's at home today, I can't get the yarn out to show you. Because it's hidden. Because I'm trying to make something for him that he doesn't know about. So I can't show that because he's here. He's not going to watch this, so I can talk about it. But I don't want to go into too much detail, just in case. But there is technically acquisition. I can't show it to you though. I'm sorry. I also haven't been able to add that to my grabs in because he sees that book. He's noticed that book a few times. He hasn't so much glanced in it, like to spy. He's more kind of glanced over, going, "Oh, how's it going?" sort of thing. So I haven't been able to add it to that. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But yeah. But anyway, that's it. Life stuffs. As I said, I went to the hospital on Monday. I had my pre-op. Other than being sat around for a ridiculous amount of time, everything went fine. It's just a pre-op. It was basically could have been an email with a couple of added tests. Like the actual appointment with the nurse to talk about like my health could have just been a phone call. Like they could have emailed me the assessment, I fill it out, send it in, 5-minute phone call, and that would have been sorted. But then of course they have to do height and weight so that they can judge the anaesthetic you need. They have to take your blood pressure, and after you've spoken to the nurse they do a blood test. I don't know why they didn't just draw the blood at the same time as doing the rest of it. That would have saved almost an hour. But what do I know? I'm just the person that does as I'm told and shows up to appointments, and actually has the paperwork filled out. So got there, the ward opened, I went in, did all my stuff, sat down. I was sat next to reception. This woman came in, like said, "Oh, I've got an appointment at 8:10. Like, okay, cool. Can I see your assessment form? Oh, I haven't filled that out. I thought I had to do that with the nurse. This is why appointments run over like ridiculously long, and why this process takes too long. It's because people don't read the form they're sent. It literally says it in big block capitals on the letter, please fill this out before your appointment. Anyway, yeah, no issues. I'd filled out everything I was supposed to. I'd forgotten one thing, but realistically I couldn't have filled that out because it was something to do with family history, and I don't know that bit because the only person that might have had that would have been from my dad's side, and even he didn't know, and I don't talk to my dad anyway, so I couldn't ask. I kind of asked my mum, and she said, yeah, he's not going to have a clue. So, other than that, I'm now just waiting on the surgery dates. They said it should be in May, but they've got to wait till they get the theatre rota to know when they can book it in. So, here we go. Hopefully it'll be by the end of May at the latest. I'm hoping middle of May. We shall see. We'll get to it when we get to it. Other than that, I'm away next week. Next Friday should be the Wonderwool episode. I plan on vlogging, taking you with me, and then doing like a mini haul video. Which means I'm going to spend basically all of Sunday panic editing and uploading that. There isn't going to be my super effective fibres just yet. I haven't quite finished the squares for that, and I'm not going to get a chance now until I get back from Dublin to finish those, because I still have to make 3. So I've made 2, I still need to make 3. I'm not going to have time between now and going away. So, yeah, that won't be out until sort of the first week of May. But, you know, it's fine. Like, life gets in the way, life happens, it's busy. But other than that, I will just add, if you happen to be at Wonderwool, and you spot me, feel free to come and say hi. I don't mind. I can be a little bit shy, but I will try my best. I will be there with my GoPro on a stick, recording. I will try not to catch you in the video if you don't want to be. If you're trying to deliberately duck out of the way, I will sort of... Or if you're trying to duck out of the way and I catch you, I'll probably just like snip that bit out, because obviously if you don't want to be in the vid, you don't want to be in the vid. Yeah, feel free to come and say hi. And with that, I shall leave it here for this week. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I hope you have a lovely weekend if you're going to a yarn show. If you're not, I hope you just have a lovely weekend in general. I hope you have a good week, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.